You're watching a wide variety of people. Hobbyists, professionals, and business owners who have chosen to fabricate and make repairs on their own with a wire feed welder from Century. Since 1937, Century has provided made-in-USA quality for people in all areas of industry and for the do-it-yourselfers who want the satisfaction of performing their own repairs in metal fabrication. People just like you. This brief video will familiarize you with safe operating procedures, proper setup, and provide tips to create strong and attractive welds. Attention to this brief video presentation and careful review of your operator's manual will help to make your welding a safe and satisfying experience. Welding, by its nature, employs heat to fuse metals together. With your Century wire feed welder, this intense heat is generated by electricity. Common sense precautions regarding heat and electricity will help avoid accidents which could be serious. The welding circuit is an electrical circuit which generates the heat, and it must not be touched during the welding process. The components of this circuit are the workpiece and any conductive material in contact with it, the ground clamp, welding wire, and the recessed tip. All normal precautions associated with water and electricity must be observed. Never weld in a damp area or allow water to contact any part of the welder or work material. The electricity passing from the gun to the work material creates an arc with accompanying rays. Looking directly at these rays without proper protection can cause permanent damage to eyes and burn skin. The helmet provided with your welder or other suitable eye protection with a number 10 lens must be used anytime you are striking an arc. In addition, any bystanders observing the welding process must have a shield or helmet. Skin will experience an effect similar to sunburn if exposed to these rays. Leather gloves protect from the arc rays and also insulate from the heat caused by the welding process. Heated metal during welding creates sparks and produces molten metal, which can burn the operator and persons nearby or ignite flammable materials. Full-length clothing helps avoid welding burns, and flammable materials must be kept away from the work area. Some metals may release toxic fumes, and proper ventilation practices should be observed at all times whenever you are welding. A portable chemical-type fire extinguisher must be ready for use at any time. See your owner's manual for a complete list of safety precautions. Now that you have prepared a suitable work area, have the proper safety equipment, and are dressed appropriately, let's set up your Century welder. Assembling your Century welder is a simple process requiring common hand tools. Close attention to the following demonstration and careful reading of the assembly section in your owner's manual will assure proper operation. Okay, we're ready to assemble. First, let's install the ground clamp. Attach the clamp to the ground cable which exits the front of the welder. Some models may have a removable ground cable which simply plugs into one of the receptacles labeled DC positive or negative. In either case, insert the ground cable into the clamp and secure the cable with the locking bolt provided. Installation of the welding gun is similar on all models. Insert the brass tailpiece of the welding gun through the large hole on the front of the welder. Slide the round copper gun bracket over the brass tailpiece and up to the barb hose fitting on the side of the tailpiece. Push the welding gun into the drive assembly so that the brass collet is about 1/8 inch away from the drive roller. Hand tighten the retaining screw. With other models, Simply insert the gun into the mounting block and tighten the mounting nut. With all models, plug the trigger lead connector hanging from the gun into the connector mounted in front of the drive assembly. The connector attaches only one way due to the shape of the plug. For models equipped for gas MIG welding, connect the plastic hose over the barbed fitting. Your Century welder is equipped with a heavy-duty drive system to advance the wire through the gun. Century wire feed welders employ either horizontal or vertical wire drive systems. We have chosen to show you a vertically oriented drive. Loading the wire is similar for both types. Your welder can use different wire diameters, and the proper wire thickness should be matched to the base metal thickness. Refer to the reference guide on your welder to select the proper wire diameter for your job. Loading the wire properly is the next step in the assembly process. You will repeat this procedure every time you change wire. You can install 4-inch, 8-inch, or 12-inch spools depending on your model. Before installing wire, make sure the power switch is off and unplug the welder's power cord. Ensure that the nozzle and contact tip are removed from the end of the gun assembly. Unscrew the tension adjusting screw all the way. Make sure the wire diameter stamped on the outside of the drive roller matches the wire to be installed. If the numbers do not match, remove the drive roller screw and pull the drive roller straight off of the drive motor shaft. Find the side of the drive roller that matches the welding wire diameter. Face it out and push the roller back onto the shaft, making sure the key in the roller lines up with the slot in the shaft. Replace the drive roller screw. Remove the spindle mechanism and install the 4-inch bolt. Replace the 4-inch spool over the bolt, followed by the washer, black plastic spacer, second washer, spring, and wing nut. Adjust the tension so that you feel some drag. Install the spool so that when the wire is unwound, it will rotate counterclockwise on vertically aligned drives and clockwise on horizontal drive units. 8-inch spools may require a spindle adapter. Free the leading end of the wire from the spool, but do not let go or the wire will unwind. Cut the bent end, hold the tension arm up off the drive roller, and insert the wire into the guide tube. Push it across the drive roller and into the gun assembly, then hand feed about 6 inches into the gun. Line the wire up in the top groove of the roller and let the tension arm drop. Tighten the tension adjusting screw until the roller is preventing the wire from slipping out of the assembly. Now plug in the power cord. Adjust the wire speed setting and heat selector dials to mid-range positions. Turn the power on. Hold the gun far enough away from a grounded surface and away from yourself. Now pull the trigger to feed the wire through the gun assembly. When an inch or so of wire has emerged from the end of the gun, release the trigger. Install a contact tip that matches the diameter of the wire. Install the nozzle on the end of the gun assembly. Then you may want to coat the inside with anti-stick spray or gel. A final adjustment of the drive tension will assure you of trouble-free wire feeding. Turn the adjustment knob clockwise while pulling the trigger until the wire feeds smoothly without slipping. Choose a wire type that is compatible with the base metal to assure such important characteristics as penetration and strength. Refer to the reference guide on your welder or your owner's manual for proper wire selection. 2 common wires are recommended for most of the low carbon and mild steel applications you will encounter. Check the amperage of the electrical circuit you plan to use. It must be sufficient to handle the requirements of your welder stated in the manual. If you must use an extension cord, it should be of the same or larger wire size as the unit's power cord. Welding with flux core wire and without a shielding gas is a viable method for many projects. It is essential for outdoor welding where wind will blow away a shielding gas. Utilizing a shielding gas results in a smoother weld and should be used when cosmetic appearance is important. To hook up a gas supply to your welder, just connect the tank in back with a hose and use solid wire in the welder. Set the regulator for about 15 psi. You will also need to change the polarity in the welder when using gas by moving the ground cable to this bottom connection and changing the white cable from the bottom connection to the top connection. On models with external polarity jacks, simply plug the ground cable into the ground jack of the opposite polarity. We're getting close to starting to weld, but first it's important to discuss preparation of the weld joint area. Clean the surfaces of rust, oil, scale, or paint to assure proper penetration. If possible, clamp the pieces securely and attach the ground clamp to the workpiece or table. Use a piece of scrap to tune and test weld before you attempt the actual job. Depending on your model, the tip may be charged even when the trigger is not pulled. This is called a hot start model, and you must be ready with helmet in place when you approach the workpiece with the gun. Cold start models won't arc until the trigger is pulled. Set the heat selector switch in the upper half of the range. Setting the wire speed is one of the most important parts of a successful welding operation, because as the intense heat creates a crater, the wire must fill this void. Tune in your wire speed by setting the control on maximum and be ready to adjust it down. Lower your welding helmet and pull the trigger while pushing the gun away from you if you are using a shielding gas. If you are welding without gas, pull it toward you. Adjust the wire speed control as you weld. When you hear a high-pitched buzzing sound, you have achieved the right speed range. Repeat this tune-in procedure if you select a new heat range or wire diameter. Hold the gun in a comfortable position to achieve a 60-degree work angle. When MIG welding, the nozzle on the end of the gun is designed to be dragged along the metal and promotes a steady hand. If the nozzle is held off the workpiece, the distance should be held constant and should not exceed 1/4 inch. When welding with self-shielding flux core wire, slag is deposited on the top of the weld bead. Clean the slag from the weld bead for a better finished appearance and visually inspect the weld. Use a chipping hammer and wire brush. Do not weld over slag if you stop in the middle of a bead. Clean the slag and then continue your weld. The duty cycle listed on your welder is shown as a percentage which translates to what part of a 10-minute cycle the welder is available for continuous use at maximum power. For example, a duty cycle rating of 20% means the unit can be used continuously for 2 minutes out of 10 at full power, with the remaining time available to cool the transformer. In normal situations, the duty cycle is not a factor. If you do exceed the duty cycle, all functions will automatically shut off except for the cooling fan. The unit will automatically reset with the cooling fan running, but damage may occur if you constantly exceed the duty cycle. We have shown you the proper setup, safety procedures, and some tips on welding. Only practice will provide you with mastery of the welding process. Refer to your owner's manual for more detailed information on the particular Century model you have purchased. Models shown in the video may differ from yours. All units are backed by a 5-year limited warranty. Please call our toll-free number if a problem arises that we might diagnose over the phone. Refer to the troubleshooting guide in the owner's manual for common problems that are easily solved. Thank you for purchasing a Century product, and happy welding for many years to come.